Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the IPNSIG Space Summit. I'm really excited to join you today, and I'm already seeing a lot of participants from all around the world, so thank you so much for joining us today. This Space Summit is really an extraordinary event hosted by the IPNSIG. It's a 4-day straight event covering a breadth of topics from a lot of experts around the world talking about the solar system internet. There's going to be an in-depth talk about the technical aspects, of course, and of course, the architectural assessment and the discussions that we're having today, and also on how we govern this infrastructure toward our endeavor toward the solar system internet. There's going to be a bunch of talks through the 4-day straight program. In my talk here, I'll try and give you a high level, big picture blueprint of basically where we're trying to head to and where we're at right now and what are the challenges that we foresee. First of all, I really want to talk about IPN6 vision. In simple words, we really want to expand networking to interplanetary space. Today's space communication is depicted on the left-hand side where we have a point-to-point space communication. It's a simple architecture having a satellite in place and a ground station on Earth, and then they're connected on a single line. When we talk about expanding humanity's ecosystem farther into our solar system, we really want to change this mindset from a point to point to a more kind of a network minded approach. This concept is often called the solar system internet, and this is the end state that we are working towards. The important thing that we also have in our foundation is that we really want to make this as a common structure. I'll talk about that a little bit more in my later charts, but it's similar a concept with the internet. If we look back on the history and how it has grown to our societal and economical foundations, having a common structure is extremely efficient, and it's also true for the solar system internet. Talking a little bit about our future steps, there's a huge impetus from around the world for humans to expand its ecosystem farther into space. Some may recall that in the Apollo program back in the 1960s and the 1970s, it was a rather shorter stay, a short exploration mission and expedition. But our next generation exploration efforts are already in progress where NASA, the National Space Agency of the US, and of course, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, these agencies are becoming the core drivers of pushing this endeavor towards this next generation exploration program. What makes a significant distinction with the Apollo program is that we're trying to put more emphasis on international cooperation and working together with the industry. Big picture wise, our next envisioned destination will be again at the moon and then on to Mars. And speaking a little bit about the moon, we have actually landed 6 times during the Apollo days. This is a very abstract illustration. It doesn't have the precise coordinates here, but you can just have a feel that the Apollo missions has actually landed in the equator zone, but the more interest right now is in the South Pole because scientists often say that there is water or ice embedded under the South Pole. So if robots or human exploration missions were able to explore water or ice or extract them or even purify them, they can be used as a utility for habitable modules or as a drinkable water, perhaps. And if you would electrolyze them and break it down to hydrogen and oxygens are energy sources for modern rockets. When we find water there, it not only allows us to conduct sustainable activities on the lunar surface, but it also allows us to go even farther using these energy sources. So that's why we are currently really focusing on the South Pole as our next destination. Once water is found, that could create a lot of avenues to build energy plants or habitats for astronauts to live and work, food production facilities, and all the things on this picture. So it's quite evident that we need some sort of a communication infrastructure and also PNT, which is position navigation and timing services. In simple words, it's basically like a GPS system around the moon because these will become really foundational infrastructure to sustain exploration, science, and all the commercial activities that will happen on the lunar surface. These are all not really fantasies. These are becoming real projects. And to give you an example of this, there is a program called the LunaNet, which is an acronym of the Lunar Internet, which is a collaborative effort amongst the worldwide space agencies. NASA and ESA and JAXA are all on this effort. And it's basically a service, a lunar service that would provide comm and also the PNT services that I've talked about. These are in progress as we speak. So this is really becoming a reality. Speaking a little bit about the industry, it's not only the space agencies, some of the private sectors are also envisioning to have cellular networks on the lunar surface. KDDI is a Japanese company, and they're seriously combining their business plans with their terrestrial business plans to advance to the lunar domain. And they're working very hard on the cellular network. Nokia is also trying to demonstrate a lunar 4G network on a future NASA landing mission. JAXA, the Japanese space agency, has a lot of ambitious plans as well. Currently, we are pursuing a lot of technical and architectural assessment on where to actually allocate the satellites around lunar orbit and where we would have a lunar ground station that would communicate with those satellites, and where we want to leverage optical comm and where we want to use RF comm. And at the component level, we're also doing a lot of R&D on high power amplifiers and modulators and other optical antennas as well. So things are progressing. And this is the solar system internet that we've been talking about. All of the things that I've talked about, the Japanese space network or the industries network, they all become the component that would form the solar system internet. If you look at this picture, this is an end that I would envision in the next 30 years or so. These kind of different networks, the space agencies networks and the private sector's network, they all join together to create a network backbone and connecting the planets, connecting Earth and the Moon and Mars, and then maybe beyond. So this is really the concept, and the really important thing is that we want to make sure that it becomes a common structure, like the internet. The question is, could we achieve a common and shared network, even in space, given that there are multiple players, governments and space agencies and private sectors? These are really high level questions that we always raise. Just to show you some of the work we've done at IPNSIG, we think that this thing doesn't happen all at once. We envision this to be a transitional thing. If you look from the left to the right, currently we have the space agency heavily investing in their backbone. So basically, it's a government-based foundation. But if we look toward the future, we might have a commercial investment, which means we might have a commercial backbone provider. And in the end state, we might rely on the commercial backbone, just like the internet. And all the space agencies and academia will be one of the users of this commercial backbone. This is a kind of a personal reflection that I sometimes use. What is about to happen in space networking is analogous to the old days of the internet. In 1983, the ARPANET and SATNET and the PRNet, which were all different networks at that time, they all joined together using TCP/IP, which gave birth to the operational internet. So to me, what is about to happen and what we are about to witness in space is very similar to this, where many types of different networks provided by different actors start interconnecting with each other. Looking back on the history and how we made success up to this point, there's a lot of reflection to this, but to me, this is my personal analysis. But I think there were numerous underlining principles that actually backed the success of the internet. One could be that we had a technical standard like TCP/IP and the IP protocols. That was good, having a standard. We also had open forums such as the IETF, where we had the freedom to join and discuss about technical standards and what could be the future. And we kept refining the technology in these open forums. I think this was a really important piece for the internet. And last but not least, the top level, the multi stakeholder governance, which is really at the heart of internet governance, which lies at the heart of the policy-making process of internet policies. The multi-stakeholderism is really the pillar of how we made it up to this state. So 3 points: internet protocol standards, open forums, and multi-stakeholder governance. I think this is no different for the solar system internet as well. We should follow this path, this success story, and then leverage this to the solar system internet. Having a common set of protocols specific for space communications, we need to standardize that. We also need a forum to continuously refine that. And we also need a governance mechanism, a collaborative one that involves the private sectors and the conventional space agencies and the governments. So I think this multi-stakeholder approach that was cultivated through the history of the internet really becomes the pillar for solar system internet as well. The basic thinking behind this, at least from the work that we done at the IPNSIG, was really to inherit the good lessons from the internet to the solar system internet. And again, technical standards, open forums, multi-stakeholder policy-making process. We believe these are the real key pillars that we need to really pursue in order to gain success toward the future. And we really like to hear more from you if you have any more perspectives around this area. It's really easy to say that on a PowerPoint chart, but space is hard. It's really difficult, as there are millions of space debris flying in orbit around Earth, natural disruptions such as solar flares that we're not able to stop, unfortunately, and radiation environments. And whether you like it or not, the speed of light is too slow. If you consider the light speed, it takes 40 minutes to send a signal to Mars and then give it back. So if you send a ping signal, you will get a response in 40 minutes. But I don't think a ping would work in this case. Conceptually, it's very far and it's very intermittent, since your signals could be easily disrupted because your spacecraft could go behind a planet, which we call the planetary motion in this physics world. We haven't figured out a way to stop that. So we have to deal with these natural premises for this space internet. It's not an easy task. When we talk about the future, of course, we have the Earth internet, and people are starting to talk about the moon internet. It's a lowercase I. It's not the internet, but it's the conceptual internet, the internetworks. People are having these kind of discussions. That kind of poses a lot of questions. I'm sure there are internet experts here in this audience today, but some high level questions that I would really encourage you to think about is, does it connect with the Earth internet? Or are we using IPv6 or is it IPv4, things like that? Or who's going to allocate these IP addresses? Which RIR is going to take that responsibility? Autonomous systems, are we having ASs on the moon? How are we going to do routing? We're using BGP. What about DNS if we were web browsing from the moon, right? If we were doing YouTube or TikTok from the moon, what are the network architecture that we need to look into? These are really the founding questions that really shape the architecture of the Earth and the Moon ecosystem. This also entails governance questions as well, in terms of how these Moon Internet policies are made. Will it be a conventional space agency form, or will it be a kind of a hybrid thing between the internet community and the space community, or will we rely more on the internet side? These kind of big picture governance questions are really around the corner. These are really high level questions that some of the talks during the Space Summit will try to address and give you a snapshot of where we're at with these discussions. I encourage you to have this in mind and listen into all of the webinars throughout the program. Just touching a little bit about the Space Summit agenda. This is my keynote right now, but as you can see on the right-hand side, we have a technical track and also a governance track talking about the multi-stakeholder policy and how the space law functions today, things like that. And then I will also have a Ion DTN Raspberry course this afternoon, and I'm sure people are really excited about this. It's a hands-on training that we're having today. There's going to be a good teacher from the IPNSIG providing on how to implement DTN, how you can join this effort in real world. So I encourage you to participate in this one. We'll have a second session tomorrow as well, and it will last for 4 days, a 2-day live day, and the rest of the 2 days will be an on-demand day. But I encourage you that you log in to our platform. It has really rich resources, a bunch of webinars from the past, and is also an interactive platform. It's very nice to make connections there. Please feel free to enjoy this platform, and let's have a lot of fun here. I guess that's it. Again, yeah, I hope you enjoy the 4-day straight program, and hopefully please join us on this interplanetary network endeavor. We're really happy to work with you, and we're really trying to broaden our community. Please join all the programs, and let's have fun and let's do great things together. So thanks very much.